In yesterday's video, I talked about what to do when you do not feel good enough. And today I want to talk about 5 steps to becoming more accomplished, whatever it is you want to do, even if you have very little time to do so. This is something I've struggled with most of my life. I have a lot of ambitions. There's a lot of things I want to do, much like everybody else who's watching this video. And as you become an adult, it becomes increasingly more difficult and more frustrating to do just that because you constantly have interruptions. I mean, it becomes the almost the definition of your life. And I read something here a while back that I'm going to share with you that was a complete game changer for me. It turned everything on its head and made me rethink the way I pursue things. And it has worked out well for me, and I'm hoping it'll do so for you. So here's who I want to introduce you to. There's a man named John Erskine. He's long been gone, but there was a time when he was an American educator, an author, a pianist, and a composer. He was an English professor at Amherst College from 1903 to 1909, and he was also a professor at Columbia University from 1909 to 1937. So just having told you that alone, it's pretty clear that this is a very accomplished man, a very probably a very smart man, very fulfilled, right? And you would think, well, that probably took a lot of time to get there. This is a person who obviously had more time to devote than I did. Not really, not really. Everybody has the same amount of time in a day, but what matters is, to us at least, is the chunks of time that are that are really occupying us, and then the interruptions on top of that, and then we wonder how are we going to get anything done, and we kind of resign ourselves to just accepting the fact that we're just going to have to put our dreams and ambitions to the side. But that's really not the case, as John Erskine exemplifies here. And I want to make it very clear to you. Also, another notable thing he did, and this is very important to this, is he was the first president of the Juilliard School of Music. Now, if you know anything about music, you'll understand that Juilliard is probably one of the most prestigious schools for drama, music, and dance. Whenever I hear that somebody is from Juilliard, I know we're talking about somebody who's pretty good at what they do. So this is somebody you want to sit up and pay attention to. Now, the article that I read years ago, I'm going to read it to you instead of synthesizing it into my own words because I'll probably just muck it up. But what I want to do is I'm going to draw out 5 things that you can do that'll make you more accomplished. I'm going to glean them from this passage, and I want to see if you can pick them out as I go along before I even mention them. And perhaps you might have your own take on this and your own insertion, and put them down in the comments below if you do. I'd be interested because maybe I've overlooked something. So here's what the article read. It was submitted by him I'm sorry, not Time. It was submitted by him to Reader's Digest many, many decades ago. But the point he has to make here is timeless. And this, ironically, this article was called "A Little at a Time." Here's what he said. He said, "I must have been about 14 then, and I dismissed the incident with the easy carelessness of youth. But the words Carl Walter spoke that day came back to me years later, and ever since have been of inestimable value to me. Carl Walter was my piano teacher. During one of my lessons, he asked me how much practicing I was doing. I said 3 or 4 hours a day. I can relate to that myself. He said, "Do you practice in long stretches, an hour at a time?" He says, "I try to." "Well, don't," he exclaimed. "When you grow up, time won't come in long stretches. Practice in minutes, whenever you can find them, 5 or 10 before school, after lunch, between chores. Spread the practice through the day, and piano playing will become a part of your life." When I was teaching at Columbia, I wanted to write, but recitations, theme reading, and committee meetings filled my days and evenings. For 2 years, I got practically nothing down on paper, and my excuse was that I had no time. Then I recalled what Carl Walter had said. During the next week, I conducted an experiment. Whenever I had 5 unoccupied minutes, I sat down and wrote 100 words or so. To my astonishment, at the end of the week, I had a sizable manuscript ready for revision. Later on, I wrote novels by the same piecemeal method, though my teaching schedule had become heavier than ever, and every day there were idle moments which could be caught and put to use. I even took up piano playing again, finding that the small intervals of the day provided sufficient time for both writing and piano practice. There's an important trick in this time using formula. You must get into your work quickly. If you have but 5 minutes for writing, you can't afford to waste four chewing the pencil. You must make your mental preparations beforehand and concentrate on your task almost instantly when the time comes. Fortunately, rapid concentration is easier than most of us realize. I confess I have never learned how to let go easily at the end of the 5 or 10 minutes, but life can be counted on to supply interruptions. Carl Walter has had a tremendous influence on my life. To him, I owe the discovery that even very short periods of time add up to all the useful hours I need if I plunge in without delay. Well, John Erskine, like I said, he became the first president of Juilliard. He actually wrote hundreds of novels, essays, and things like that. He was very accomplished. Yeah, over 100 books, novels, and essays. And he did it by the very method of which I just shared with you here in his article. So, what are the 5 things that we can take away from this article about how to become more accomplished at the things we want to do, especially when we don't have time to do them? Okay? Especially when we don't have the time to do them. Here's what I glean from all of this. Here's my input. Number one, identify what it is you want. It's fun to talk about these things. It's helpful to commit to such a plan. But if you don't have any idea what it is you want to do, when you have uh, when you have these 5 or 10 minutes, you can't afford to hem haw around. Identify what you want ahead of time. You might have to dig deep because you might have given up so long ago that you can no longer remember. But chances are you'll still be able to scrounge up something, right? And you're not gonna have to think too long before you'll realize there are things you always wanted to do, and now you can do them. So first you need to identify what you want. Number two, you need to plan to act. Plan to act. Um, it's no longer going to be about I don't have enough time. You're going to take advantage of the 5 or 10 minutes you have here and there, or maybe just a couple minutes. But you have to plan to act. If you don't plan to act, you never will. You'll always make excuses. There's always something in place. One thing always takes place over another. And if you don't plan to act, you'll just make excuses, and you'll always find yourself spinning your wheels in the sand. Number 3, seize every moment. Like the title of this article, a little at a time. Seize every moment. That when you plan to act and you seize every moment, you'll find yourself whittling away at this plan of yours and finding something take shape. Believe it or not, I can relate to this. You have like John Erskine was talking about. You have to weave these things into your day. Every adult listening to this knows exactly what I'm talking about. The interruptions are abundant, and we become very unfulfilled as time goes by, and we think of things that we wanted to do as dreams in days gone past. But they don't have to be. They can be things you take back up. I can personally say I've done this for myself. I'll give you examples here in a minute, but you have to seize every moment. You have to identify what you want, plan to act, and seize every moment. Number 4, you have to attack quickly. Attack quickly. That means you have to abandon the formulas that you've laid out. Whenever we approach a task or an ambition, we have these ideas in our head that it's going to take a certain amount of hours. It's going to take following a certain pattern, developing a rhythm, and just being very, very disciplined, and not allowing others to get in our way. But it's not realistic. It's not very realistic. You have to attack quickly. I've had to learn this for myself. One of my ambitions in life is playing the piano. I love to play the piano. I want to become very good at it. And so I was devoting 3 hours a day to it, just like John Erskine was. But Carl Walters was right. When you get to be older, you just don't have that kind of time. But I was making that kind of time at the expense of my family. It was annoying them very much, having to listen to it all the time. It's one thing to listen to someone play the piano. It's another thing to listen to them practice. All right. And but I was very devoted. I'm a very devoted, obsessive person, much like many of you. And what this article did was it completely turned things on its head and gave me the liberty to enjoy other things in life, because that's what you sacrifice. If you don't embrace what I'm talking about here today, you are sacrificing the enjoyment of all the other things in your life. It could be your family, it could be other things you'd be doing at their personal time. You won't even begin to plan ahead for anything else because you're so committed to the task. So identify what you want, plan to act, seize every moment, attack quickly. And like John Erskine said, you'll be surprised at how creative you can be and how much you can get done when you do that, because it's absolutely important that you do these quickly, that you attack it like there's nothing else, that like it's almost like a line that's gone without a meal for a long time. Imagine that. Devour what you're doing. And number 5, be patiently persistent. Be patiently persistent. Well, first of all, you're going to get a lot further than what you ever imagined in a shorter amount of time than you would have thought. But going into it, you have to have the mindset of someone who's going to be patiently persistent. Imagine it like this: hammering away at a large boulder over and over and over again. Kind of like you picture hard labor prisoners. You just keep hammering away until something gives, either you or the rock. But you don't have to stand in one spot with a hammer and knock away at it. You do this a little bit at a time. Just stick with it. Be persistent, but be patiently persistent. And this is how you'll get things done. Guys, this has totally changed the way I live. It's totally changed my life. Like I said, it's been a game changer for me. I actually enjoy what I do more now. Okay? I actually enjoy the things I pursue. The things I pursue are, like I said, the piano. Okay? I actually enjoy it more now than I ever did before. And creating content for YouTube, like I'm doing right here right now. I've learned to grab these little moments before I go to work, head out the door, and instead of doing take after take after take and trying to be perfect, I attack it. I attack it voraciously, and I let you guys see it just as it is in the raw. And what you see is what you get. But you know what? I enjoy it more now. And I also enjoy acquiring knowledge, which means I read a lot of books. And involved with acquiring knowledge is disseminating it at the same time, because that's how you retain things. Well, so reading is the biggest part of that for me. Okay, acquiring knowledge and talking to people who know more than I do. Uh, but what I do is I carry a book with me all the time because I can't carry a piano with me. So when I can't play the piano, I have a book readily available. I crack that open and read it for 5 or 10 minutes at a time. I actually read more now than I did when I was systematically sitting down for an hour or two at a time, because it's more fun. And I just look forward to the next 5 or 10 minutes I'm going to have. I read it when I'm standing in line waiting to donate plasma at BioLife. I uh, I read it during my lunchtime. I read it in a few moments here and there and everywhere. It's amazing how it's really worked for me. I hope it's going to work for you. I know it will. I know it will if you do it. So leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me if you think I've missed anything. Give your input on this, and tell me how it's affected your life if you apply it. Consider donating to this channel, this endeavor that I have to kind of help other people in their walk in life. Uh, it was greatly assisted if you consider donating, and you can do that by following the link below. And I'll put your name on the screen, as such people like the one you see right now on your screen. And like I said, I'll give you honorable mention if you do. I really appreciate anything that you could donate, but you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm going to keep doing this anyway, and it's just something I love to do. And that's the thing about doing things this way, is that you begin to see what you're doing and the goals that you have as something less of a task, more of a labor of love. Guys, make sure you see the description box below for what I've mentioned even more. And I've enjoyed this. I hope it's helped you. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye bye.